Hello. Today, we're learning a fun idiom, a recipe for disaster. Let's break it down. First, what's a recipe? It's a set of instructions for making food, like a cake or a soup. For example, if you follow a good recipe, your cake will turn out delicious. But what happens if the recipe is bad? Or if you make too many mistakes while cooking? That's right, it could cause a disaster in the kitchen. Now, in English, we also use a recipe for disaster as an idiom. It means a situation that is very likely to go wrong. Let me give you an example. If someone is texting while driving, we can say, texting while driving is a recipe for disaster. Now, let's try some examples together. What about leaving a candle next to paper? Is that a recipe for disaster? Yes, it is. How about studying hard before an exam? Is that a recipe for disaster? No, it's not. That's a good idea. Now it's your turn. Can you think of a situation that might go wrong? Use the idiom a recipe for disaster in a sentence. Great. Remember, we use this idiom to describe situations that are likely to fail or cause problems. Now, let's say it together one more time. A recipe for disaster. Excellent work. See you next time for more fun idioms. Our next one is bite off more than you can chew. Let's start with the literal meaning. Imagine someone takes a big bite of food, so big, they can't chew it properly. What happens? They struggle to chew, and it becomes hard to eat. Now, as an idiom, bite off more than you can chew means taking on more work or responsibility than you can handle. It's like trying to do too much at once. Here's an example. Imagine your friend signs up for 5 classes, 3 clubs, and a part-time job all at the same time. You might say, she bit off more than she could chew. Let's practice. What about this? If someone tries to plan a big event without any help, did they bite off more than they can chew? Yes, they probably did. How about taking care of a small plant for the first time? Is that biting off more than you can chew? No, that's manageable. Now it's your turn. Think of a time when someone tried to do too much. Can you use the idiom bite off more than you can chew in a sentence? Great job. Remember, we use this idiom to talk about situations where someone takes on more than they can handle. Let's say it together one more time. Bite off more than you can chew. Another fun idiom, too many cooks spoil the broth. Let's break it down. First, what is broth? Broth is a type of soup, made by boiling meat or vegetables in water. And who are cooks? Cooks are people who prepare food. Now imagine this, you have one pot of broth, but too many cooks are adding ingredients. One person adds salt, another adds spices, and someone else adds more water. What happens? The broth doesn't taste good because everyone is interfering. In English, we use the idiom, too many cooks spoil the broth, to mean when too many people are involved in one task, it can lead to problems. Here's an example. Imagine you're working on a group project, and everyone tries to be the leader. No one agrees, and the project gets ruined. You could say, too many cooks spoil the broth. Let's practice together. If 5 people try to decorate a cake at the same time, is that a good idea? No. That's a recipe for disaster, because too many cooks spoil the broth. What about just one person leading a team? Is that better? Yes. It's easier when there aren't too many cooks. Now, it's your turn. Think of a situation where too many people trying to help could cause a problem. Use the idiom, too many cooks spoil the broth in a sentence. Great job. Remember, we use this idiom to describe situations where too many people trying to help can make things worse. Let's say it together one more time. Too many cooks spoil the broth. Fantastic work.
Our next one is spill the beans. Let's start with the literal meaning. Imagine you're holding a bag of beans, and you accidentally drop it. The beans fall everywhere. What happens? That's right. You've spilled the beans. Now, in English, we use spill the beans as an idiom. It means to tell a secret or reveal information that you weren't supposed to share. Let me give you an example. Imagine there's a surprise birthday party for your friend. But before the party, you accidentally tell them about it. In that case, someone might say, "Oh no, you spilled the beans about the surprise party." Let's try another example. If someone tells a secret during a conversation, you can say, "Why did you spill the beans? It was supposed to be a surprise." Now, let's practice. I'll ask you some questions, and you tell me if it means spilling the beans. First question. If you tell someone the ending of a movie they haven't seen yet, is that spilling the beans? Yes, it is. Next question. If you keep a surprise party a secret, is that spilling the beans? Pause for response. No, it's not. That's keeping the secret. Now it's your turn. Can you think of a situation where someone might spill the beans? Use the idiom in a sentence. Great examples. Remember, we use spill the beans when someone reveals a secret or information they shouldn't. Let's say it together one more time. Spill the beans. Moving to the next one, put all your eggs in one basket. Let's start with the literal meaning. Imagine you have a basket and you put all your eggs in it. If you drop the basket, what happens? Pause for effect. That's right, all the eggs will break. Now, let's talk about the idiom. When we say, don't put all your eggs in one basket, we mean, don't risk everything on one plan or one idea. If that plan fails, you could lose everything. Here's an example. Imagine you have some money to invest. If you put all your money into one company and it goes bankrupt, you'll lose everything. So, we say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Let's try some examples together. What if someone spends all their time and effort preparing for just one job interview? Is that putting all your eggs in one basket? Yes, it is. If they don't get that job, they'll have no backup plan. Now, how about this? Someone applies to 5 different jobs. Is that putting all your eggs in one basket? No, it's not. That's a smart way to have multiple options. Now it's your turn. Can you think of a situation where someone might put all their eggs in one basket? Great example. Remember, we use this idiom to remind people to diversify their efforts or risks. Let's say it together one more time. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.